Hey everybody, welcome to another exciting, crazy, wacky ass episode. This week we're going to talk about the fourth Metallica album, Injustice for All, which many believe is their last great album, even though the Black Album sold more than your mom. And so...
I don't know, my mom sold a lot. I just want to throw that out there.
Trust me, your mom ain't selling no more. And they still are. Okay? They're still selling. Your mom was selling more back, even 3 years ago. But like the past years, I think Metallica eclipsed your mom.
Yeah,
so that comes with age, you know?
Yeah, she slowed down.
Anyways, okay, so I guess we'll start with a little background of how we discovered Injustice for All. And for me, first time I heard any of it was when I saw the Monsters of Rock tour, where they played Harvester of Sorrow. That was my first song hearing that album. That album was delayed quite a bit. Then when it finally came out, I remember running out, and it came out the same day as Anthrax released that piece of crap called State of Euphoria. And I bought them both, and I went home, listened to them both, and I don't remember, I probably put the Metallica on first, and I enjoyed it, and then I heard the Anthrax I didn't enjoy. The Metallica I did enjoy, but it was a fast burn for me. I just put it on yesterday to refresh myself how it was, and yeah, it's a little better than how I remembered it, because there was a while there I didn't like that album that much, compared to the first three. I still think it's a downgrade, but we will discuss track by track, and when we do, I'll talk about the problems I have with this album. And that's it. That's all I got to say about it. And, and then I saw the tour 2 times because it played in Miami, a place that rarely has any shows, called the Guzman Center, where I actually saw Triumph and Saxon back in '81, and the Headbangers Ball tour with Anthrax, Halloween, and Exodus. I think those are the only shows I ever saw at that venue. Queensryche opened on the Operation Mindcrime tour. They opened with Queen of the Reich, pretty badass. Then they played West Palm Beach like a day or two later, which is unheard of, because when people come to Florida, they just play a gig and they're out of here. Where for Metallica to play like driving distance, it was very rare. I don't think I've seen any band ever do that, actually. So I saw the tour twice. It was the first time I got to see Metallica. It was the first tour they came down to Florida, which unfortunately means I never got to see the great Cliff Burton. And they were mind-blowing shows. Metallica was amazing live back then. They were even amazing on the Black Tour, which I saw 3 times. And I'll discuss one of those shows because it has something to do with one of the songs on Injustice. And that's pretty much it. That's what I got to say about Injustice.
All right. Injustice for All. I remember very well the day this came out, August of '88. I was 14, a freshman in high school, and was able to leave. At my high school, you could leave for lunch. And all the stoners and all the metalheads left and would go to this gas station so we could smoke cigarettes and various other substances. And there was a kid there who, it was just like Matthew McConaughey in Days of Confused. I think this guy graduated in 1958, but still hung out at every high school keg party and stuff, trying to pick up some teenage girls. And he went and picked the album up, showed up there in lunchtime, so he could show off for the girls, and played it. That's the first time I heard it, and I remember, wow, his car stereo sucks. Little did I know that was the actual production of the album, but I was very excited, and also interesting postscript. That was the first day I ever took acid too, and was drop the tab, listen to it, for what I could fit in for my lunch hour, and then I went back to school. Bad choice, because I had typing right after lunch. And man, when that shit kicked in and you hear 25 fucking typewriters going at once, asked to go see the school nurse, call my grandma, I'm sick. I remember the car ride home, I'm sitting on the edge of the car, on the edge of the seat. If I was any closer, I would have been out the window. Went home, locked myself in the room, and listened to the wall, because that's what I was told you were supposed to do. And let's just say I didn't try that again until I was 18. And then I found out you're supposed to watch The Wall, not listen to it. But anyway, if we have any younger, listeners here, I don't want to make it sound like I'm glorifying taking typing, because typing's bad. That shit leads to drugs. And that's my first memory of And Justice for All.
Which, by the way, Ian, no, The Wall is like the worst thing you can listen to on acid, because The Wall is extremely depressing. Dark Side of the Moon would have been a better way to go.
I know that now.
Or Animals.
Well, yeah, I mean, Animals, well, I don't know, Terrence. I mean, honestly, Animals is my favorite. No, you know what? You're right, because I'm thinking of Sheep now. And yeah, Sheep is more acid-oriented than anything off of Dark Side. But Dark Side is like a continuous acid trip where, select parts of animals like sheep and dogs too, where the keyboard turns into vocals.
Yeah.
Or not, the vocals turn into keyboards. Yeah, wow. What an amazing album, but that's a future episode.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Do you like Animals, Ian?
That is my absolute favorite Pink Floyd album.
Okay, we're not going to review that one now.
Okay, bye.
All right, so,
that's my second favorite.
What would be your favorite?
The one that preceded it, being "Wish You Were Here."
Ah, interesting. Okay.
And that is one of my least favorites. So that could be an interesting interview.
You're gonna get it, Ian.
Actually, I do love "Wish You Were Here," but I would actually put "Animals" and "The Wall" above it. But that's just me. All right, so let's get into Injustice. I'll start it off the proceedings with track 1, which is my favorite track off the album, Blackened. Very, very old school Metallica, but also something that they've been doing for the past 2 albums. Ride the Lightning and Master of Puppets all started off with that kind of little intro to go into the heaviness, and then the second track is the title track. Then the third one is a little more, For the Whom the Bell Tolls, and what is it? The Thing That Should Not Be, more mid-tempo, and Eye of the Beholder. Anyway, so it pretty much starts. It's what you expected from Metallica. It's just, to me, the standout track, the best track on the album, and it has aged awesomely. My favorite song, and I love the breakdown. Watch your mother put to death. Watch your mother die. Am I remembering that right? Something like that.
See our mother put to death. See our mother die.
Yeah, that is so awesome. Is he talking about Earth, the planet, or his actual mother?
So. I believe he was talking about the Earth.
Yeah, great. I love every song that praises the Earth, like Revelation, Mother Earth, and I guess those are the only 2 songs. Sting doesn't count. I don't care about the rainforest. All right, so that's my take on Blackened, the best song on the damn album. Love it. And I hated that when I saw the Black Tour, they did a melody of Justice album where they only put little pieces of Blackened. I want to hear that whole thing, man. That should not be in a melody. Put the rest of the album in a melody, but not fucking Blackened. All right, that's what I have to say. Best. I think it's the best song they ever did after Cliff. All right, okay. So that's what I think about Blackened. Ian, let's see what you think.
Blackened is tied for me for my favorite track. I'll tell you the other one when we get to it, but I think Blackened is just balls out thrash song. The only one that it has a co-write with Jason Newsted, and a great way to start the album. It is an environmental song lyrically, which was kind of different, kind of cool. But just a balls out thrasher. I was listening to this morning just to refresh on the album, and it just had me fucking jamming. But definitely tied for favorite for this album.
Okay, so I just want to bring up something that I learned from doing my reviews. There's a lot of times I leave stuff out, and then people just love to correct me. When I said, Revelation, Mother Earth, and Blackened are the only 2 environmental songs ever recorded, I'm wrong. I know there's a million from Nuclear Assault, Greenhouse Effect from Testament, and a million others that I can't think at the moment, but some of you out there will probably want to, oh, and also this and that. Okay, yeah, you're right. All right. Give yourself a fucking cookie. And Justice for All, the title track. I think the song would be much better if they condensed it to like a 4-minute song. I think the riffs just go on and on way too long, way too repetitive. I do like the lyrics. I do like the delivery of James. I like the whole concept of the song. I think it's great. But I think it's just too damn long. And the riffs just go over and over. And then when they change the riff, that riff goes over and over. They should have condensed it. To me, it suffers. I think Injustice for All is too plotting and too long and too boring. And I think it would have been a much better song if it was 4 minutes long. All right, Ian.
All right. Injustice for All. This is great because here I get to piss Ralph off again. It's kind of my fault for this song. A lot of people don't know this, but at the time of the recording, I was real good friends with Metallica. And they're like, hey, Ian, we want to take it to the next level. You know, we want to, you know, it's like we're doing good. We got good grassroots campaign. We can't afford videos yet, but we're trying. And I'm like, well, you want to win a fucking Grammy? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, well, then you need to get like Jethro Tull and write some long fucking songs. I'm like, hey, if it's good at 4 minutes, it's going to be fucking even better at 9. And they took my advice. I think it's a great song. Unfortunately, it's responsible for the Black Album, because by the end of this tour, they were so fucking tired of playing this long-ass song that they felt was losing people's attentions, that, they made the decision, with the next album, it's going to be shorter songs, and we're going to sell out, and that's exactly what they did. But the song itself, I enjoy. It is a long song. I love the solo. I love Kirk Hammett's solo on this. Where that part where he just does the dive and then it goes right back into it. Fucking gives me chills every time. So I enjoy the long song, and I don't mind a little Jethro Tull in my Metallica. And then we go into Eye of the Beholder. Great fucking track. Probably this was my favorite first hearing the record. I don't know what it was, but this one just grabbed me by the boo-boo and didn't let go. I'd play this fucking song over and over. And it's still something I enjoy. Actually, when I first got this, I enjoyed the first side so much, I played it over and over and didn't get into the second side, till a long time after. I used to get because it was cassettes back then. So, man, I just fucking rewind and listen to it again. And there's not a whole lot of history I have on this song. It's a rocker that I love and never got to see him play live and would really love to hear live. What do you think, Ralph?
Well, I did get to see him play it live 2 times actually on that tour, and unfortunately, because I don't like the song. So it sucks. Life sucks when I get to see a song you really want to see live and I didn't want to see live. That sucks.
I don't even believe you. I think secretly you love this song. You're just trying to get my goat, and you did it. I'm pissed. God damn it.
No. I'm not trying to get your goat. I don't hate the song. Actually, at the time when they played it live, I didn't mind it. It sounded better live than on album. Actually, any song they play live sounds better than this album, because this album just sounds so thin. Obviously, because there's no bass on it. And the sound of this album it really does bother me. It just sounds way too thin. And I know there's a version out there called Justice for Jason where they put bass on it. I don't know. I think it's some guy who played the bass to this album. And it sounds better, but still, they should have put Jason on the album. This song, honestly, man, no, seriously, I am being serious. I can take or leave. I don't care for this song at all, really. Yesterday I listened to the album in its entirety, and I was like, it's just continuous, which, the only good thing I can say about it is Metallica invented that crunch, which, they just were incorporating crunch on everything and making it different, different angles. And they did it on this one too. They made it more mid-tempo, just like their previous 2 albums where the third song was more mid-tempo. I give this song on a scale of 1 to 10 a 5, okay? So I don't really hate it. I'm like halfway about it. Okay, so now we go into the most popular song on the album, a song called One, which was their first video. They played it on the Grammys that year. And I know you're all. I know you think I'm going to be very predictable with this one because it is the popular one, and I'm not supposed to give it a glowing review. And plus, like the last two albums, the Foir song, Fade to Black, Sanitarium, one, the mellow one that gets heavy. I really love One. One is probably my second favorite song on the album. I think it's an amazing song, and my favorite part is the middle section where it's darkness imprisoning me. I think that part is so awesome that unfortunately the lame motherfuckers in Thrash or Die do not want to play that live because I wanted to do that section in the middle of our song Fatal Fury where, there's a part in the song where I go, just when they thought I knew the answers, I changed the questions. I wanted to go right into that. Da-da, da-da. I wanted to do that so bad, but everybody in the band, nothing against gay people, but it's true. Everybody in my band sucks cock. And that's why they can't do that because they think too much of cock and they can't do One live. It's just, whatever. So I love this song. I would say it's tied for my second favorite song on the album. And I'll discuss what's the song it's tied with when we get to it.
First of all, I just want to say that there will be no homophobic comments allowed on here. I myself am not gay, but the dude I'm fucking is. That guy loves the cock. And, he's sensitive. So, that being said, One, that is just, it's an epic fucking song. What a big deal it was for that video to come out, and what a great video it was. I think if people didn't come up in that area, they didn't appreciate how special it was that Metallica was finally doing a video and how different it was because, all the videos I was watching back then had some big old titties in them, and there wasn't no titties in this video. This shit was dark. But it fit the song perfect. It was just a total epic. That being said, I never need to hear this fucking song again, just because, the overkill factor. I love it, but I don't think I made it. Both times I listened to this album getting ready for the review, I don't think I made it the whole way through because I've been there, done that. It's a great song. It's just burned out, but I love it, and that's what I got on One.
That's good.
It's funny. It's funny you mentioned that, Ian, about the video not having big titties and stuff, and all those videos back then, had chicks walking around with shorts and cherry pie and shit like that. But funny enough, for some weird reason, I would always pause one where they show the nurse and masturbate to her. I don't know. I'm a weird guy.
Yeah,
Me too.
I thought I was the only one. I used to jerk off to fucking Rat's Way Cool Jr. video. I had a part where I paused it. Yeah, I probably shouldn't have brought that up. Anyway, next song is Harvester's Sorrow.
Wait a second.
Okay.
Did you pause it when Stephen Pearcy was rubbing his ass with that cane?
No, but what's fucked up, the reason I started pausing it is because, one time I ejaculated, but they switched real quick and it showed Stephen Pearcy. I was like, oh, fuck. Am I gay by proxy? Because, I did finish, while they were showing him. But, he's a damn pretty man. So, I just learned to pause.
Well, okay, I'll just make a quick note. Ian just described what happened to me a lot when I used to masturbate to 70s and 80s porn. Right when the guy is about to get a facial, they get a close-up of the guy making that face like, oh. It's like, God damn it, Okay, I'll take this one. What I was saying earlier was I did see them play Short as Straw on the Black Album tour when down here in South Florida we had a catastrophe called Hurricane Andrew, where it just totally leveled us and was really bad times for us down here. And I was without electricity for so long, and after like a week of it, I couldn't take it anymore. And I went to Orlando where Guns N' Roses and Metallica were doing a co-headlining tour at a big stadium in Orlando, and I figured, fuck it, man, let me go up there and watch the show and then go to a hotel that has electricity. And I went up there and they played Short as Straw, which I really was happy that they played something different. They weren't, doing just the songs they always do. And I always love when a band plays a song from an album that they didn't actually play on that tour. So Short as Straw was cool, but I did listen to it yesterday. and it has not aged well with me. It's not a bad song. I kind of like the melody of the chorus, but then when it goes into shortest straw, to me, rub you raw. It's like, whatever, let's go to the next one. So I didn't actually finish listening to it last night. So again, Shortest Straw is a good song, but it should have been condensed. How about you, Ian?
I agree. I think this is the first one where it's like, oh, this might be a little bit of filler. Not bad, but nothing to write home about. I mean, and kind of like my review of this song. I mean, I really don't have anything to add because it is what it is. It's an all right song. They definitely have worse, but it's not one like, oh yeah, put on Shortest Straw. If you're playing Injustice, at least for me. So it is what it is. Harvester's Sorrow, I do love it. It's not my favorite. I think it's because I loved a song called Harvester of Eyes by Blue Oyster Cult. And my dad always just told me, my dad was a huge Blue Oyster Cult fan, and he just loved, he said the imagery, he goes, think about it, he goes, a harvester of eyes. And I was like, ooh, because if you don't know a harvester, what you see out in the country, they put all the fucking grain or whatever into, so it's like this huge thing just filled with eyes for that song. And I kind of related that to this song too, just like a big fucking metal cylinder filled with fucking sorrow. And I don't know, it just got me more into the song, and I like the groove on it. Not my favorite, but definitely enjoyable, and I was rocking out to it today. I always love the deep cuts, get tired of the radio shit, and this is something I think would be really cool for them to play live. And that's all I got for that one. So,
well, it is a song they played live for a long time. Actually, like I said earlier, the first time I saw Metallica was before the album was released, and this was the one song they played at Monsters of Rock to let everybody know this is going to be on the next album. Then they played it on the Black Tour, and then they also played it on the Live Shit and Binge, whatever. They did actually a summer tour for that.
Purge.
Binge and Purge, that played here in Bicentennial Park with Suicidal Tendencies, Fight with Rob Halford, where the encore fucking Metallica played Rapid Fire and fucking Rob Halford came out and sang it with them.
Nice.
How badass is that? That to me was the pinnacle of Metallica. The best time I ever saw them. They actually played that day Disposable Heroes, which is my second favorite Metallica song. But, okay, now to get back in Harvester of Sorrow. Harvester of Sorrow started a little trend. I think they were very influenced by the song The Small Hours that they covered on the Garage Days. It's got that vibe. And then the next album, Sad But True, has that kind of mid-tempo crunch. So I think they really got stuck on that. And then they just stopped doing Harvester of Sorrow, I think, during the Load tour. That's it. After that, I think they have thrown it out here and there, but I stopped going to Metallica shows after I saw the horrible Load show in the Miami Arena where they started. I mean, this is what killed me about this show. I mean, I went because Metallica always kicked ass live. Wasn't a fan of Load, but what the hell? I'm going to see Metallica. Miami Arena is like 5 minutes from my house. So I went there, and they played, during the middle of the show, they played Fight Fire with Fire. And then he stopped it right before the vocals came in, and they went right into Nothing Else Matters. And from that day forward, I vowed to never go see Metallica again. That's a whole other story. What do I think of Harvester of Sorrow? It's a good song. It's a great song. But, yeah, it's one of the songs I like on the album. There's not many songs I like off this album, but this is one of them. All right, so, Ian, tell us what you think of, what's the next one, Eye of the Beholder?
No.
Parade of Ends.
Yeah, Freight Ends of Sanity.
Oh.
Freight Ends of when we first started talking about reviewing this album, you're like, oh yeah, let's do this because I'm not a huge fan. I was like, oh, how can you not be a fan of fucking, Justice for All? And then you went, oh, and I was like, oh yeah, that shit was fucked up. That was a bad decision. I do like the song, but that part of it has not aged well at all. But overall, I still think it's a strong song, but they should have edited that shit out. That's for damn sure.
Yeah, this to me would be the weak. Well, I don't know. No, there's a song I even like less than this one. Believe it or not, we haven't got to yet. But this would be my second least favorite, and this was actually the first Metallica song I heard from everything they've done up to that point, where I was like, ew, what the hell is this? And the thing I hate a lot about it is not really the OEO part, the part where it's like, never hunger, never prosper, da 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 da. Then they go to that. And then another vocal then. I hate songs that have that kind of repetitious riff between lyrics. Every song that's like that drives me nuts. I hate it. And I just like a fucking chorus to get, like, don't bore us, get to the chorus, you know. But this verse shit where they stretch it out with riffs in between lyrics always rubbed me the wrong way. And yeah, Metallica did it with this song. Weak, but not as weak as the next track. My least favorite song on the album is this long, boring instrumental called To Live or to Die? Or
To Live is to Die.
To Live is to Die. Let me tell you something about this song, man. I mean, to me, the greatest Metallica song ever written, in my opinion, is Orion. Orion, to me, is like probably one of the best songs I've ever heard in my life. I definitely put it up in my top 5. I like the Call of Cthulhu. I like that one too, but it's still, I don't think it's a pimple on the ass of Orion, but geez, it's way better than this one. This one is just repetitious, like Injustice for All title track, riffs going over. Even the beginning intro goes way too long with a little mellow thing. Then it goes into this riff that are just continuously going over and over and over. The only part I like is when it just abruptly stops and it goes into this little, I don't know, it's like you hear like it's a different production. You hear like this little riff, and I could be wrong, but I think Cliff Burton wrote that. Did he?
Yes, he did.
Aaron?
Yes, he did.
Okay. And I'm not saying this because of the dead man syndrome. I love Cliff Burton, but I'm not saying that's why the only part I like of the song. Because if he didn't write that part, I'd still like it. That part of the song I liked. And then it stretched out a bit with the solo, which is cool, but it did go a little too long. Where even that part, you know, if they condensed it, and then it just went back to the same crap. My least favorite song on the album, and one of the main reasons why I don't really put on this album that much, because a lot of these songs seem to just stretch out with these riffs on repeat.
This is where I really get to piss fucking Ralph off, which I enjoy doing oh so much, because I agree with him 100%. And he's going to hate that.
Ow, shit, wait, hold on. Ow! Fuck, man, a tampon just flew out of my ass.
Yeah, I knew that was going to hurt, buddy. Yeah, listening to this reminded me of why I always listen to side 1. Way too long, and just goes nowhere. You know, boring. And it's sad because this is supposed to be like, a send off to Cliff Burton, like a final bow in your head. And I wish they would have came up with something fucking better than this. Yeah, it was one of those where I'm like, okay, I got to listen to this album because I'm going to review it. I was like, when's this song fucking over? I'm looking at my watch because it was just going fucking nowhere. And but it does lead in to what ties for my favorite track of on the album is Dyer's Eve. And who would
You're pissing me off again, man, because that's my second favorite as well.
Yeah, well, finally got some good taste for once.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna start off with Dyer's Eve. I love it. I love the attitude. I love the way the subject matter. He's pissed at his parents who were, I don't know if you know, his parents were Christian Scientists, where they don't even fucking take you to the doctor if you're sick. The power of Christ compels you, kind of thing. He was isolated as a child because he was in such a fucking cult, and this is just him spit back at his parents and say, this is it's his wall moment where you fuck me up this way and you fuck me up that way, but you feel every bit of it. Musically, it's great. Lyrically, it's great, and it's a great way to bookend the album. Because I think the two best songs are the first and last, and then there's some long ass shit in the fucking middle.
yes, it is a good song. It's my second favorite, almost tied with Blackened, but no, not as good as Blackened. A song they never played live till Saint Anger tour, which they played down here, which I didn't go. But my friend told me, dude, they played Dyer's Eve. I was like, no way. Because there was a lot of controversy that they said Lars wasn't able to play this song live. That's why it was never played live. But I did see video. It's up on YouTube. I'm sure they played it more than just the Sunrise, Florida show. I'm sure they played it many more times after that. But I did see it, and I thought Lars did an okay job. And, okay, and here's something else I want to touch upon. Lars Ulrich, who is considered like the worst drummer and blah, 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 and this and that. And, I was watching the Through the Never movie not too long ago, and, I mean, he is a little too unorthodox these days, and I think he does kind of suck. But to me, he was a very special drummer back in the 80s because he wasn't like, a great drummer or anything, but just the way he played was so off time and stuff like that, but yet he made it work. And a good example would be the Played Out For Whom the Bell Tolls, where I don't know, man, if you get a perfect drummer, it wouldn't be as cool. That's another thing I liked about Slayer. Lombardo, even though Lombardo is like a zillion times better than Lars Ulrich, and he's an amazing drummer, but yet he's still a little unorthodox, where Paul Bostaph, who's an amazing drummer, but he's just too precise. And I know a lot of people don't like Guns N' Roses out there, but I happen to worship Appetite for Destruction. And it was, to me, the best thing about that album was the Adler and Duff McKagan, the rhythm section, I think made that fucking album so great, where Matt Storm is like a robot, and that's why I think Use Your Illusion suffered a lot. I know I'm getting off base, but going back to Lars Ulrich, yeah, he sucks, but back then, man, the way he sucked was cool. And recap of Injustice for All, it's a downgrade from the first three. The first three are just flawless, but honest with you, I don't listen to Ride the Lightning and Master of Puppets much anymore. If I'm going to put on any Metallica, it's Kill 'Em All, or, believe it or not, the Garage Days EP, the 598 EP, I never get tired of that one. But Justice, yeah, I can go the rest of my life not listening to it, and I'll be fine. But, I did listen to it yesterday, and I gave you my review. 3 great songs, or 4. The rest I can do without. What do you guys think of Metallica as a whole?
All right. Again, I got a lot of history with this album because, like I said, I was pretty close to Metallica at the time. And I feel bad for the bass sound on this album because, they called me up and they said, hey, Jason's kind of playing like the same thing we're playing on guitars. It doesn't sound that good. So I'm like, well, maybe bring in somebody else and play bass. So I recommended Randy Jackson of American Idol fame, who was a very good session player at the time.
With Journey.
Yeah, I played with Journey. He did a great job on Raised on Radio. So based on that, I was like, hey, he's going to be a perfect fit for Metallica. Well, that didn't work out. So I was like, well, maybe you should get Cliff back. And they're like, well, Cliff's dead. And I was like, well, that could be an issue. So I was like, well, why don't you just plug, his bass in and then record the album like that? And that's what they did, His bass was plugged in, but nobody actually played it. And that's why you get the sound you do. So, once again, kind of my fault. But, yeah, I do have the version, and Justice for Jason. Interesting fact, a lot of people don't know who's actually playing bass on that is not the original Jason Newsted track, but it is Bobby Dahl from Poison. He was looking for work at the time, and I think he did an all right job. Not too shabby. Hey, it's nothing but a good time to me. I think it sounds fine. As a whole, I have to agree with Terrence. Ride the Lightning is my favorite. Love Kill 'Em All. Love Master of Puppets. This pains me. I have to agree with Ralph. I never, ever get tired of the Garage Days EP. Every track on that is just timeless and still sounds fresh. And, man, I wish they kept that spirit. Black Album, what a letdown. Saw that tour. Only time, actually, I ever saw Metallica. Thankfully, they only played 3 songs off it because it hadn't been released yet. And the rest of the show was killer. Load and Unload, I've never even made it through all the way because it was so just fucking... God, I remember hearing it Until It Sleeps for the first time. I was like, oh yeah, this shit ain't getting any fucking better. You know? I remember being at a keg party when, after the Black Album came out, and a girl came up and said, hey, can you play that romantic Metallica song? You know, and it was fucking Nothing Else Matters. That's when I knew it was fucking over. Saint Anger. Well, I ain't gonna talk about the fucking orchestra fucking album. That fucking abortion.
What about Garage Inc.?
Yeah, Garage Inc. Yeah, no, don't cut it for me. I don't like their fucking Whiskey in the Jar. I despise their Turn the Page. I do like the Merciful Fate melody, though. I do like that. Even though, by and large, I fucking hate melodies. Play the fucking song. Hey, if you like all three songs, play all three fucking songs. Don't fucking jumble them together. I hate melodies. I was so glad when Jason Newsted left the band because at that point he was the only one that was still listening to metal. They never really let him do anything in the band, and I'm glad he got out of that abortion before fucking some kind of monster movie and everything shows you what kind of douchebags they really are. Aside from Kirk. Saint Anger was a step in the right direction, but horrible production, horrible trash can drums. But I thought they were starting to get, like, maybe they kind of remember, but they're not quite there yet. Death Magnetic, I do believe is a good album, but once again, horrible production. I honestly feel there's only two good produced Metallica albums, and that would be Ride the Lightning and Master. As much as I love Kill 'Em All, it's still a very raw production, much like Show No Mercy by Slayer. I love it, but you want to talk about a good sound. I really think they only had a good sound on Ride and Master. I just heard the new song, Lords of Summer. It's not horrible, but, it ain't fucking Ride the Lightning, I'll tell you that much. And you can tell they're going back with Rick Rubin. A producer who just signs his name and says, hey, Rick Rubin produced this. I think they need somebody like Terry Date, a good metal producer, might help them out, but I don't know. I'd still go see them live, but musically I think they're a lost cause.
Okay, the orchestra album, I think, was another one of their attempts to slap the old school fans. Metallica was really good at pissing off old school fans. I don't know why, but they always like to piss off the old school fans. So what can we do? Oh, I know. Let's get all our old songs and put like some crappy orchestra behind it. And let's change the songs a bit. That'll piss them off, It wasn't bad enough with Load and Reload. Now, here's a couple things I'm going to say that's very blasphemous, but I'm going to say it. I can't deny shit I like. Now, there's two songs I like. Well, actually, there's two songs I like on Load, and there's one song I like on Reload. I like Until It Sleeps. I really do. I'll tell you why. The lyrics of that song are so fucking awesome. I just love those lyrics. And I'll agree with you, Ian. The first time I heard it, I was like, look, they're trying to be dancing. Because with that, like, guitar and shit, I didn't like it at first. But I grew to like it. So I really do like that. I like the last tune on the album called Outlaw Porn. It's an epic, long-ass song, which is funny how I would like that. But, they don't really repeat the riffs that much. And I think it's a good song. Now, to make you guys really cringe, I love, and this is probably my favorite song they've done since After and Justice for All. I love Memory Remains. Love the hell out of it. That na 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 na.
Aryan people.
Oh my God, I love that so fucking much. I don't know why it reminds me of Celtic Frost or someone said, but I don't know. It has that morbid, eerie vibe to it that I really dig. That weird, high-pitched little music going on in the background. Now, Death Magnetic, Saint Anger is not even worth talking about. Okay, that goes without saying how horrible that was. Death Magnetic, I have a huge problem with because they tried to go back to the old school thrash sound with My Apocalypse and a couple songs here and there. They threw in a little bit of the thrash thing, but they're only doing it because it's popping out, and they're noticing people are just getting fed up after seeing Anger with their fucking, oh, let's try to be original bullshit. I respected Metallica more when they were sucking. I respect Saint Anger more than Death Magnetic, because at least in Saint Anger, they were trying to be themselves. Where in Death Magnetic, they're trying to fit into the now that thrash is popular again. Let's be thrash. I don't hear the fire. I don't hear the hunger in my Apocalypse that I did in Creeping Death or Trapped Under Ice. So in closing, oh yeah, and I heard that End of Summer, whatever the fuck that song is. That shit sucks. Again, it has little elements of them trying to be thrash again. Lars, and I've looked for this clip everywhere and I can't find it, but there is a clip of Lars at the Grammys being interviewed and him saying, this is during the Load era, 1996, him saying, heavy metal is dead. It's never coming back. We're never going back to how we were, because that's just dead. And I always remember that about this idiot, and I can't find it anywhere. I wish somebody would put that online so I can continuously put it on loop so everybody can see it.
Well, I would just like to thank our sponsors, because this never gets done for free. I want to give a shout out to Bet You Won't Malt Liquor. Try to find something cheaper that gets you more fucked up. Bet you won't. Have a couple of these. Think you're going to make it to that interview? Bet you won't. Bet You Won't Malt Liquor. Pueblo, Colorado.
I just want to say that I really appreciate everybody that's listening in, and we really would like your feedback and your suggestions for future shows. And hopefully we get a lot of hits with this stuff, man. And see you all later. Goodbye.